the next couple pages and the one and only Ivan. We left off with, "No, Ruby, I say, this is your prison." Poking and prodding. The lady comes again. She brings an animal doctor with an awful smell and a dangerous-looking bag. He spends an hour with Ruby, poking and prodding. He looks at her eyes, her feet, her trunk. When he's done with Ruby, he enters my cage. I wish I could hide under Knot Tag like Bob. Instead, I do a nice loud chest beat, and after a moment, the doctor retreats. "We're going to need to put this one under," he said. I'm not quite sure what that means, but I strut around my cage feeling victorious anyway. No painting. No one asks me to paint today. No one asks Ruby to perform. There are no shows, no visitors unless you count the protesters. Max stays in his office all day. More boxes. I wake up from a long morning nap. Bob is on my belly, but he isn't sleeping. He's watching the ring where 4 men are placing one large metal box. It's me-sized. "What's that?" I ask, still blurry from my sleep. Bob nuzzles my chin. "I believe that box is for you, my friend." I'm not sure what he means. Me? "They brought in a bunch of boxes while you were sleeping. Looks to me like they're taking a whole lot of you," he says, casually licking his paw. Even Thelma. "Taking?" I repeat. "Taking us where?" "Well, some to the zoo, probably. Others to an animal shelter where humans will try to find them homes." Bob shakes himself. "So, I guess all things must come to an end, huh?" His voice is bright, but his eyes are far away and sad. "I'm gonna miss your stomach, big guy." Bob shuts his eyes. He makes an odd noise in his throat. "But what about you?" I ask. I can't tell if Bob is just pretending to sleep, but he doesn't answer. I gaze at the huge, shadowy box, and suddenly I understand how Ruby feels. I don't want to go into that box. The last time I was in a box, my sister died. When George and Julia come that night, George doesn't get his mop or his broom. He gathers up his tools and belongings while Julia runs to my cage. "This is my last night, Ivan," she says, and she presses her palm against my glass. "Mac fired my dad." Tears slip down her cheeks. "But the zoo lady said maybe they'll have an opening there in a while, cleaning cages and stuff." I walk to the glass that separates us. I put my hand where Julia's is, palm to palm, finger to finger. My hand is much bigger, but they're not so very different. "I'm going to miss you," Julia says, "and Ruby and Bob. But this is a good thing. It really is. You deserve a different life." I stare into her dark, sad eyes, and I wish I had words for her. Sniffling, she goes to Ruby's cage. "Have a good life, Ruby," she says. Ruby makes a little rumbling sound. She puts her trunk between the bars and touches Julia's shoulders. "Where is Bob anyway?" Julia asks. She looks around under tables, in my cage, and by the trash can. "Dad!" she calls. "Have you seen Bob?" "Bob? Nope," George says. Julia's brows wrinkle. "What's going to happen to him, Dad? What if Mac shuts down the whole mall?" "He says he's going to try to keep it open without the animals," George says. He stuffs his hands in his pockets. "I'm worried about Bob too, but he's a survivor." "You know what, Dad?" Julia gets a gleam in her eye. "Bob could live with us. Mom loves dogs, and he could keep her company, and—" "Jules, I'm not even sure I have a job yet. I am not even able to feed you, let alone some dog." My dog walking money. Sorry, Jules. Julia nods. I understand. She starts to leave, then runs back to my cage. I almost forgot. This is for you, Ivan. She slips a piece of paper into my cage. It's a drawing of Ruby and me. We're eating yogurt raisins. Ruby is playing with her baby, another baby elephant, and I'm holding hands with a lovely gorilla. She has red lips and a flower in her hair. I look, as I always do in Julia's pictures, like an elegant fellow. But something is different about this drawing. In this picture, I am smiling. All right, boys and girls, that was an exciting couple of pages. I'm really thinking that they're headed to the zoo. But does Ivan and Ruby get to go to the same zoo? Do they get to still be with each other? And what happens to Bob? Does he get stuck at the mall or does he go somewhere new, too? I hope you have a wonderful day. Miss you!